Hello guys, welcome back to Movie Reviews. This video we'll look at Dead in a Week or My Money Back. No, it's Dead in a Week or Your Money Back from 2018. This is an independent British film that I found on Netflix just maybe a few months ago actually, to be honest. I thought maybe I did to cover this actually. So, independent film, it's got an interesting cast in it. Well, a few memorable people of course, and an interesting premise. First of all, we got in terms of famed British actors, we have Tom Courtenay in one of the roles. He play, I've got the character's name, but he's an assassin who's actually he's basically an expert, sort of coming up to like geriatric type assassin who's been working up the ladder for many years, for many decades. And of course, he's getting close to his getting towards that that stage he needs to retire. Of course, and I think he's got given a job. He was given by a struggling writer who has suicidal tendencies, who's very much actually attempted multiple suicides, and boy still survived. He still lived through his attempts, which I found was quite interesting. This old man is trying to. He's done many attempts, but bad luck always seems to get in the way. Of course, like he's tempted to kill himself, but stuff goes wrong. Of course, he ends up living, and he writes his book, and about the various times he wants to die and everything else. It's heavy on the suicide messaging and everything else on this film. If you didn't notice. So he goes to his publisher. One of them, they meet up in his restaurant, of course. The one to publish his book. They seem interested, but in doing so, but before that, he approaches Courtenay to assassinate him in a week. He's saying, "Can you do it? Can you, assassinate me? But it's just come out of shock and out of context and everything else." It's really interesting stuff. Really, what his agency does, that they sort of hire people to be killed, but in multiple ways. It could be an accident. It could be just standard procedure, really. And he goes with his leaflet you can do the hero thing. Of course, if we put a child in front of the road, of a busy road, you have to save it and you'll be knocked over. And that sort of thing. But it's just for the simple Hitman-esque scenario, really. And yeah, but then he comes ahead, of course, and says, "I have a publishing deal, I want to just cancel the contract." But in doing so, Courtenay himself decides to say, "Well, no, you signed a deal, so you must have to be killed," and that whole thing. And so he goes in this cat and mouse type thing, really. And and eventually comes to agreement, and that sort of thing, and says, I'll probably kill you if lad. I think it comes to his senses really towards the end. It really does. We do have some other cast members, of course, to talk about. Freya Mather, who is famous for Skins, for series 5 and 6, really, of that third generation of characters for Skins back in the day, is here as well. She's actually really good in this role. She is. I forgot the guy's name. I don't really know. I forgot the actor's name who plays guy is suicide attempts. Really good performance. I think them two have really good chemistry they do in the film, which is, I think that's how it's built on, really, and just really good stuff. Really between them, they go to a college and some of the countryside just hide away. You've also got Christopher Eccleston as well as this sort of head, like a type of mob boss type character, but he's the head of the assassins. You're the main person who's the main boss, really. There's a really good scene between him and Tom Courtenay discussing Michael J. Fox's roles, actually. And he mentions, and also he mentions, he did Stuart Little. He was a fucking mouse. He was or something like that in Eccleston's eyes or something. It's very dead straight. That doesn't count. That doesn't fucking count or anything like that. It's really, really good stuff. Really very out of context scene, but it's actually pretty funny and very interesting between them two, of course. And the scene, of course, when he counters Tom Courtenay, and they had that sort of brief dinner moment. The wife Courtenay's wife's there as well, who is very sort of the typical loving housewife, really. And she knows about his career and everything else, and assassinations and everything else. He knows his history and his killings and stuff. And she just shows stuff "Oh yeah, nice work at work, dear," and that sort of stuff. There's a bit of weird tense, I don't know, paranoid tenseness with her, with the sewing thing. I forgot what you called it. Those broidery sewing to somebody, or broadery, I think it is. whether just she wants to win, except she got this that woman that they keep mentioning are part of this community that she's part of, and it's pretty it's pretty interesting. They've all had their own sequels to do, very much. It's a really good film, actually. I really sort of enjoyed it all the way through. It's a pretty interesting watch to find. It's only on Netflix, it is, so it's only, you can't really get on DVD. It's only on streaming services only. So, but you might give it a watch if I certainly enjoyed it. So that's my overall thoughts with it, really. And yeah, I just really thought it was pretty good, decent little British film, really. Something out of the blue, and surprised me, actually. Pretty good stuff. And the next film we're going to talk about is Shaft. So this is the 2019 film. This is actually the 5th film in a series, actually. Because Shaft originally was done by Richard Roundtree, of course. Famed for the 70s, I think, in a TV show first. Then the films came out, actually. So yeah, I always assumed it was the 3rd film. I didn't realise it was the 5th film, actually, until I didn't realise Richard Roundtree did 2 more films of Shaft in the 70s as well. I think the 3rd one's in Africa, actually. I think he goes to Africa, I think. But my introduction to Shaft came through the 2000 movie with Samuel Jackson in, very much, because I remember catching it on TV many years ago on Channel 4, way back. And I only seen it once. I can't remember much about it, unfortunately, but there's an interesting cast in it. I might watch that sometime eventually and do more thoughts on it. But I'm talking about the 3rd film. So this is actually the sequel to, well, it's basically the sequel to, very much to the Samuel Jackson one, of course. You have, what's his name, Jesse T. Turner, who's actually his son, actually, JJ, who's in there, who's basically a FBI analyst who works behind the desk and everything else. Tries to solve a case on his own, very much, and obviously he enlists the help of his father. He's a strange father, he hasn't seen for many years, of course, and all comedy breaks loose and everything else. Good at, it's that father and son dynamic, it's basically Turner and Jackson doing the thing, really. It's more about their movie, really. Roundtree's, I have to bring up Richard Roundtree again. He's in this film, of course, as the original Shaft, of course, great head and everything else. I think his inclusion in this film is not really the best, compared to whatever. I find it, he's very shoehorned in this film. I don't really know why, but heavily shoehorned in. And it's just like, should it be there? Should it be there? Yeah, I don't know, but it's nice to see them all together, like the generation of Shaft together. It's pretty interesting. There was some speculation, because I know Nathaniel Wayne of Council of Geeks mentioned this in a, was it like a sort of film, not that, it's all mixed on scene, actually, and he put up Shaft, which is which he put on was the promo image of all the 3 cast members, of course. It's like, why are we doing another one? I was quite surprised they're actually doing a sequel to that, really. I was like, wait, what? Because I haven't seen the Samuel Jackson movie Shaft for years. My God. I only picked up a DVD, well, I picked up a DVD copy, but it's like a wrong one, actually. That includes a Shaft movie from Richard Roundtree's era, and an episode of Sherlock as well, so I don't want to go on that one. But watching it now, and everything else, it's more leaning to the comedy side, of course. There's good action, but it's very much, it's more leaning towards Samuel Jackson's comedic chops, really. It's all right, I didn't mind. I think people were negative on it, really. I think, it's a waste of time and everything else, but yeah, people just didn't really get that, really. And I didn't mind. It's more of a popcorn movie. It's very, it's sort of harkens back to the exploitation style, of course, to what the original Shaft was doing. I think also what was John Singleton was doing with the 2000 film as well. Again, it's all right. It's not bad, really. It's not a bad film, really, to be honest. I mean, just the inclusion of Richard Roundtree is just that leads a bit of a disadvantage, really. But it plays more its comedic chops, and it's just on Netflix. It's actually been released on DVD, actually. Funny enough. But it was originally, I think it was meant to be released on cinemas, but he changed to Netflix, of course. Then he ended up in DVD. A bit strange, really, but who knows? It's all right, really. It's a decent popcorn film with Samuel Jackson in, so you might get a bit of a kick out of it, really. And that's it, guys. Thank you for watching. I've been talking about Dead in a Week, Call Your Money Back, and Shaft. Dead in a Week 2018, Shaft 2019. So yeah, these are all from Netflix. Anyway, guys, thank you for watching. As always, see you for the next video, and goodbye.